Okay, take 3. Take 2 got disconnected. So we're going to do this take 3. It's really part 2. Part 2 of the quantum physics with essential oils. Take 2 of part 2, which makes it take 3. Now, hopefully everybody is just as confused as I am. And I'm going to keep talking. Okay, so you may get asked, how many drops should I use for blah, blah, blah? How many drops should I put in the diffuser? Use as many drops as you feel like using. Okay, how many drops should I use if I'm doing it in a class? Well, you pass the oils around in a class and you may find that one person takes the oil and they drop it in their hand and it takes them, a long time for one drop to come out. And then you pass it to the next person and they drop it in their hand and it like pours out like water. You pass it to the next person and it just comes out so-so. So it comes out differently depending on whomever is the person who's holding the bottle. And that's a real thing. That's a real thing. That really happens. And that happens because of the needs of the body and the intention of the person holding the oil. So there's a chemistry instructor, Curtis Easton, no relation to me. He spells his name a little different, but his name's Curtis Easton, and he's married to a lovely lady, and they were making up capsules one day. If you've ever heard of the bomb, which is 5 drops of frankincense, 5 drops of copaiba, and 5 drops of Idaho balsam fir. Okay, so they were making up that, and what happened was the capsule wasn't filled with one of them. I forget which one. I need to go back and ask him which one did which. But when one of them, I'm just going to say it was him, when Curtis was doing it, he would only get 14 drops in. He wouldn't be able to get enough, there wouldn't be enough room in the capsule for more drops to fit. But when he would give it to Rachel and she would put the drops in, she could get like 25 drops in. How does that even make sense? They're both using the same oils out of the same bottle and the same size capsules, but the drops are bigger depending on who is dropping them. And so they did this multiple times to see if it would be the same, and it was. They did it over several days, and it was always the same, depending on how many, whoever was holding it, how many drops would go in the capsule. And so then they started thinking, well, wonder what if I hold it for a while and then I hand it to you and you drop it in. And sure enough, that affected the size of the drops and how many drops would go into the capsule as well. So the body knows what it needs and your spirit knows what you need. And so it can affect the oil and how fast it comes out of the bottle. So therefore, if you're doing a class and somebody can't get an oil, it just isn't going to come out, then just smell it. It's fine. You probably don't need it right now. And if you have that, if you are trying to use an oil and you just aren't getting any out, then maybe you just don't need that one right now. Go on and see which other one appeals to you at the time. So it can be different depending on the person and different depending on their intention. Isn't that amazing? I just found that so amazing because you would think that every person would get the same number of drops in a capsule. So because of that, it really isn't that important how many drops. You can't really give someone a prescription or a protocol or a number of drops to use for certain things. You can tell them how, just use the oils. Use the oils and apply them liberally and apply them frequently. The more frequent, the better. And the more liberal, the better. Just being careful to pay attention to your body, and if your body objects, if you're using a hotter oil, you're going to want to tone that down, dilute it with a carrier oil, that type of thing. But if you ever have any reaction, it's most likely going to be a detox reaction, the toxin coming out too fast, or an emotional reaction. Like, yeah, I need to look at this and deal with this issue. So I just wanted to come back on real fast and talk about that, because that is the quantum physics effect on the size of drops in a capsule, or the size of drops when you're passing them around in a room. You might want to do an experiment at a class and see, have other people do it, like take different oils and see how many drops they get. Make sure it's like the same one. So everybody use lavender and see how many drops you can get in a capsule and see if it's different among the people. That would be a fun thing to do at a class or with your family. Okay, thanks for tuning in again. Bye.